Hello and welcome. My name is Valentina Whitfield with Century 21B3.
Hello, I'm Karen Way with Clear Title, and I'm the branch manager at the Pine Forest office.
I'm Kathy Hullion, Clear Title. I am business development with everywhere: Pensacola, Pace, Milton, Santa Rosa County, Escambia County.
And today's topic is going to be why rushing the process during closing. Sometimes it's not such a great idea. The first topic would be the type of agency costs and fees that it would incur.
The fees for title closings are basically fixed. Our title fees are regulated by the state, so across the board, all title companies charge the same thing. Closing fees can vary, and ours tend to be a little bit lower. And then some title companies, some attorneys' offices charge what they call junk fees. All of our fees, FedEx fees, wire transfer fees, shipping fees, they're all included in our closing fees. So we like to think that we have one of the lower cost basis for our closing fee.
How do we look for and vet a title company?
The best way to do that in our instances, we have a quoting tool on our website. It's called Title Capture, and we encourage our agents to go to that tool and get our fees are preset in there, and then they can get a general idea of what the costs will be before they write a contract. Of course, all of our agents are encouraged to call us with any specific questions. Sometimes there's probate involved, special needs, but anything just generic, just to get you started, you can go to our title quote tool and get some pretty basic information just to get the contract going.
What are the red flags that a title company may not be the right fit?
Communication. We do not have any complaints. We are on top of it. If you don't get a call back or an email back, and I tell my clients, if you don't hear from me within 24 hours, something's wrong. We try to return our calls and our emails by the end of the day. But if you're not being communicated with about money owed at closings, being communicated through your lender and things like that, that's a big red flag, because it's going to delay the closing at that point.
And how do we prepare, and what can delay or stop the process?
Well, there are things that come up in title. Every title tells a story, and there's some instances where you have things that come up with the seller's title issues. There could be probate issues. The buyer may run into a situation where they all of a sudden have to go out of town, and we need a power of attorney, and we have to kind of put the brakes on and things like that. So your title company needs to be responsive to those types of red flags so that we can make the process continue to flow. If you know things that are going to happen up front, you tell us so that we're prepared to help you.
And, the risk of rushing an offer and the whole process, what could you possibly see that could go wrong?
From a buyer standpoint, that's really more of a situation where there might be some situations within inspections, things that we don't have a lot to do with. There may be survey issues that we don't know about until the survey's done. So if you want to know that the property is, the home is within the boundary lines, if you want to know that the title is clear, it does take a minute to get those kind of things done. So rushing through a closing can prevent it from even closing if there's issues.
Okay. What different types of closing can they expect?
Different types of closings. We have cash closings. We have owner financing closings. We have closings with lenders. Basically, those are the three types that we deal with on a day-to-day basis.
What's the difference in between in-person, remote, and hybrid closing?
Yes. In-person is when everybody is here. Probably half of our closings, that's the case. The other half, at least one or the other party, buyer or seller, is not here. We can do mobile notary closings where we actually hire a third party to go to the buyer or seller wherever they may be. We can do RON closings through a third party if the parties happen to be overseas, out of the country. We can do them in the States too, but those are mostly done when they're out of the States. And then, like I said, the in-person. We do some closings. We can't do DocuSign. We can do closings by email, but the packages need to come back to us with original documents. We have several different ways to handle it if the parties aren't here.
And what are the pros and cons in between them three?
The pros and cons are always going to be, if you're sitting with me at the closing table, you're going to get your questions answered. We do offer, we tell our mobile notaries, hey, if they've got a question, please call us. That mobile notary is not allowed to make any closing decisions for them or give them any advice. So the pros and cons would be being in person. It would allow them to ask questions right there at the table.
Okay, and how does the type of closing impact timing or potential delays?
A cash closing is quick. Right now, our underwriters are 7 to 10 days out, sometimes faster, depending on the title search itself. Lender closings take anywhere from 30 to 45 days. And then on our financing closings, we can pretty much do quickly as well because we're not dealing with an outside lender. Your lender closings are going to take the longest.
Okay, can you take us on the process of what happens on the day of closing?
Okay, the day of closing is really we're on the downhill stretch. Everything that we've done has been in the background. We've dealt with your lender, we've worked with the surveyor, the underwriter. Probably the day before, hopefully you've got your closing figure, you know how much you're going to bring, your seller knows how much money they're netting. The agents have seen the closing statement and everybody's on the same table. So the day of closing is just a day of really celebration because it's time to go to the table and get the signing done and get your keys.
What documents are they signing and what should they pay close attention to?
Probably the meat and potatoes of any documents that you sign are the closing statement, the promissory note, and your mortgage. A lot of documents that your buyers have seen, they've already e-signed at some point. The lenders are in constant contact with them at different times. So they'll be signing documents that will say that they've seen the survey, that they've gotten a termite inspection. The promissory note, of course, entails the interest rate and their payments. In a cash closing, it's much simpler. You're basically just signing the deed, the closing statement. We're going over the title commitment with you on all your closings. And so but most of the documents that your buyer has seen, they've seen prior to the closing. They get what they call wet signatures. So the deed, the note, the mortgage, title commitment information, and the closing statement would be the most important.
Okay, and what's your advice to buyers to make closing day smooth and stress-free?
Well, that's up to us because it's on us because we want to make sure that they've gotten their figure in time, they've been able to go to their bank, or they've been able to wire their money. If something comes up, the sooner we know about it, the better. We literally have had closings where our buyers had to go out of town at the last minute. We've had to go back to the lender, get power of attorney. So things can happen. They're going to happen. But to make it less stress-free, just as soon as you know what's going to happen or something that's going to cause a delay, you just let us know. We'll work through it.
Can you share a real example of a smooth, successful closing and what made it go right?
Well, I like to say we have more of those than not, but we do have some that have a monkey wrench in them every once in a while. A smooth closing from beginning to end is a clean contract. Survey's great, termite's great, the lender's great, the realtors are great, and it literally flows. It's all about communication, and we communicate with all of those people all of the time. Talk to all parties involved at least 3 or 4 times. So that would be a smooth closing. Communication and everybody knowing what's going on. We've had closings that have a lot of times it happens during the inspection period or the walkthrough. Those create situations where they do the walkthrough right before the closing, and then there's something wrong. Wood rot wasn't taken care of. The water heater doesn't work. The air conditioner doesn't work, and that will delay closing. By the time you're ready to get to the closing table, we have everything we need. So the lender's gotten everything from the buyer, and we've got everything we need from the seller. So a lot of times, walkthroughs will create a situation where we have to delay or put off the closing until some items are fixed or repaired.
Have you ever seen a deal fall apart because someone rushed the process?
Well, yes and no. I've seen instances where they want to do a rush closing, but then we either title has been there's something wrong with the title, or there's something wrong in the survey is not acceptable, or there's termite damage, we need a new roof. So if you rush into those things, there is a chance that these things will put the brake on it if things have to be addressed.
Okay, what's the biggest lesson buyers can learn from those experiences that you just mentioned?
It's up to us as a title company when we get that survey to get it to the agent, because the agent is going to let that buyer know what's going on. So I always suggest that the buyer stay in touch with their agent. And of course, their agent will stay in touch with them.
Awesome. If you could give buyers one piece of advice to avoid costly mistakes when they feel pressured to move fast, what would it be?
Don't. Do not move fast. If you have questions of your realtor, if you have questions of the title company, that's what we're here for. If you feel pressured in a situation, we always advise you seek legal advice, legal counsel, and in any instance that you have questions with regard to the property itself, as far as title is concerned, call us or call your agent, and they'll call us. Stop everything and get your questions answered before you move forward.
Awesome. Would you like to add anything, Miss Kathy?
I would. Thank you, Karen. That's wonderful information. I'm even learning as I'm sitting here today.
Yes.
On my side of the table for business development, we've got some great marketing tools for y'all. We've got farming tools. We have all of your open house, your coming soon, your just listed flyers, anything we can help you with. We are here to do that at Clear Title. Don't hesitate. Give us a call. Let's work together. Let's grab lunch. Let's grab coffee and bring in the deals.
Well, you heard it from Kathy and Miss Karen. Speed is important, but strategy is everything, because haste mistakes makes waste, but preparation makes profit. Y'all have a great day. My name is Valentina Whitfield with Century 21.
Karen Way with Clear Title.
Kathy Hullion with Clear Title.
And y'all have a great